My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This video is captured December 25th, 2024 at 2:36 p.m., concluding at 2:43 p.m. All right, first of all, it's currently 2:36 p.m. If you pay attention to the documentation on what is ongoing psychological torture by gang stalkers, and it's very interesting. First of all, none of these people can pay their rent. They're on low-income housing, unemployed, and they are also elderly. The demon-possessed gang stalkers who are equally threatening, okay, equally vile, okay, equally dangerous, okay, fully engaged in the sex offense committed by an entity, equally engaged in sexual violence, practicing witchcraft. There is no respect regarding age, and also, again, the economic bracket. This is the low-income recipients who are fully engaged in the pattern of conduct, public corruption with the government. The city of Ontario's gang stalking, as you see the fake sun at 2:37 p.m., hovering over the same roof that it's hovering over at 9 o'clock in the morning, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, that's 5 hours. There's no sun that ever moved to Florida, okay? We're three hours ahead of us based on time, and also based on the isolated, idle presence of this light source over an apartment building where the demon-possessed are engaged in psychological torture. That's the purpose of the demon-possessed that are monitoring your movements, sex offenders who are demon-possessed monitoring your genitalia, keeping massive surveillance with an entire city. Traffic, the houses along in the city and also along the street. This is all relevant positioning, and everything that they're doing is centered on me, and that's why a fake sun is remaining over me. What I want you to see is this is the fake sun that's in the same position over me, or that's how you're recognizing visually who is being targeted and by who. They're a bunch of demons, and I'm documenting minute by minute, second by second, hour by hour, psychological torture. The elderly are going to prison and mental asylums, and it's exposing Paul Leon, Mike Lorenz, the demon that's the fire chief over the Ontario Fire Department, et cetera, et cetera. It's pointing to the entire city, the demon that's over the corrupt airport, the Ontario International Airport, are gang stalking with the demons that are living at a facilitating venue. And they are simultaneously, as a municipality, as an entity, being exposed and documented and prosecuted. This is the fake sun that's in perfect alignment, and it has nothing to do with the engineered light that's appearing. This is not sunlight, okay? Neither is that the sun. Okay, and you are witnessing, as I'm documenting for you to see the impossible. This is an introduction to the spiritual realm, because you're also, when you're in Missouri, when you're in Indianapolis, when you're in Texas, when you're in Nevada, this is not over you, okay? This is also not over Los Angeles, Alvarado Gardens, which I have on video documentation to put all these elderly demons who can't even pay their rent in federal prison where they belong. Okay, they're spending their golden years in federal facilities, and they act with impunity. Okay, their demon-possessed condition is creating what is manifesting mental illness that's exhibited in their criminal behavior. That is on behalf of a government. And where the fake sun is aiming, it is speaking to what is impossible light activity. You're looking at the people. This is the concentrated light. That's not the product of sunlight. But what you will recognize is where the engineer light is evidence of the fake sun. This is how you're recognizing the P.O.C. That's how you're recognizing the P.O.C. And while the entity is engaged in psychological torture, a bunch of demons are stalking me with noise as I open and close the door. The engineer light from a peephole. I want you to see me moving the door. This is engineer light through a crack in the door. This is not sunlight, nor is that the sun. From morning until evening, that's not the sun. This is not sunlight. This is engineered light. This is the environment where a bunch of demons who are elderly, who are unemployed, accepting state and federal benefits. They can't even pay their rent, and they're engaged in state surveillance, domestic terrorism, psychological torture, which the government is doing through them. That's why they're going to federal prison, and the government is being publicly exposed, and they're going to be removed from office. This is where the I've shown you at 9 o'clock in the morning, this same fake sun that's over the same exact roof in alignment with me at 9 o'clock. Here it is, 2. And you've seen the Ontario police flying right over my head, those fools, those baboons who are going to be disbanded, who've already provided evidence for years, let alone under this same exact fake sun. And they flew over my head in this environment, engaged in psychological torture and gang stalking with the same population. A bunch of exposed, sex-offending, demon-possessed gang stalkers. Okay, so this is the engineered light that's inside of the apartment that I want you to see that is occurring. That's a scientific impossibility. It's never the product of sunlight. Okay, this is the same light, the circumstances of the light at 9 o'clock in the morning, at 8 o'clock in the morning. No matter what side of the building the fake sun is on, impossible that that will be the sun. But also you're looking at what is the same pattern of identifying engineered light. Where demons are stalking you with light, they're monitoring you. Understand, monitoring by the demon possessed is psychological torture. And Woodside Senior Apartments, AVANATH Capital Management, the employees and the residents themselves, units 33 through 64. This is the evidence. They're all going to federal prison. And the demon in 55, she's going to a mental asylum. The demon that lives in this unit, Tracy Banks, is being documented. While this witchcraft practicing gang stalking mother, a violent sex offender, is physically away, she is engaged in Title 18. She knows every word that I'm speaking right now. She is a part of the entity. She knows that I'm documenting right now. She does not have to be physically present for that to be the case, by the way. You're also dealing with spiritually. You're dealing with the same spirit. So this is a demon above. That's the same spirit. Tracy Banks, they are of the same entity, the same demonic entity. She knows exactly what I'm stating. But criminally speaking, it's a criminal conspiracy. They're engaged in gang stalking together. Tracy Banks is a part of the entity. She doesn't have to be present. She knows exactly what I'm documenting. She knows every minute that every time I mention her name, and she is being documented, and she's going to a mental asylum as well. While you're looking at engineer light, concentrated through a peephole, this is a scientific impossibility. This is P.O.C. This is where the entity is engaged in what is stalking moment by moment, and I'm capturing, again, this is concentrated light in the corner, the ceiling of the apartment, okay? Reaching out into the depths on the ceiling, spreading out, okay? While the demons above and all around, filling this apartment with ongoing amplified audible activity, and the demon-possessed are cowards. As I document them, they all silence themselves. Okay, they're doing so again. The demon-possessed that engage in psychological torture, they're all going to mental asylums and prison. This is the evidence prosecuting and breaking down the system. It's literally a tutorial. This is, however, what they do to American citizens who do not know any better, who cannot. There's no one to report it to. There's no one that's going to believe them, and their life is being threatened. They're going to federal prison for what they sought to do to me, and I'm prosecuting them for it. Okay, this is the wicked behavior, which is criminal. While they are targeting and hunting people down like animals, these animals are going into federal facilities. This is never sunlight. Neither is it going to shoot through a hole, the peephole. Neither is it going to be present at one property. As a matter of evidence, not only do I have the documented sunrise at 7:18 in the morning here, I have it just days ago right here over this same roof at 9 o'clock in the morning. Everybody in this building is going to federal prison. It's very simple. It's over the same roof. This is P.O.C. It's currently 2:43 p.m. This video is captured December 25th, 2024, beginning at 2:56 p.m., concluding at 3:03 p.m. All right, they are going to federal prison indeed, flying right over. That's the Ontario, understand that's the city of Ontario engaging in psychological torture as you review, because that's what and the demons are flying right over, trying to avoid being captured on. while they fly right over the apartment, again, with simultaneity to what I'm reviewing. I'm reviewing the video evidence showing the engineer light peeping through onto the wall from the peephole, capturing the evidence, speaking of the people here who are going to federal prison based on the city of Ontario sharing in psychological torture and criminal engagement using helicopters. That's the city of Ontario that Paul Leon is a part of, gang stalking with the demons who are gang members using helicopters to engage in gang stalking, and doing so while they fly over where the fake sun is stationary, idle, and while I'm on my phone. I understand that that's the psychological torture that the corrupt government who is indeed gang stalking and is engaged in federal stalking. All of the demons under the fake sun that's over the same roof, while engineer light is piercing through a peephole and is also appearing outside, such that engineer light is occurring underneath a covered structure onto the window. That's impossible light activity, especially while the sun is 3 hours ahead, supposedly over another state where you would see the sun outside of where you live, where your shadow is appearing upright on the building. All right, because this is where you have, I just want you to see engineer light all over. These are the identification of gang stalkers. And the demons that are already engaged in surveillance while they practice psychological torture, stalking with noise, every move, everything you're doing on your communication device, when your genitalia is exposed in the bathroom, the demons are already doing so on behalf of the state, who then flies over in helicopter as a desperate means of distraction, psychological torture, harassment, and terrorism, threatening your life and safety. That's why Mike Lorenz is going to be prosecuted as the terrorist leader that he is. The Ontario Police is going to be disbanded. Paul Leon, Alan D. Wapner, the Ontario International Airport, who was gang stalking under the fake sun as well, doing the same exact criminal tactics of obstruction of justice. The entire city, again, shutting down the airport, disbanding the police, removing the corrupt fire department because they're the same city engaged in the same criminal system, the same demon-possessed entity. This is because I'm exposing them. And this is, again, not limited to Ontario, California, where I'm exposing the system and I'm prosecuting the city. The city is in the shoes of the state that's practicing statewide domestic terrorism. All right, this is what LAPD were doing, and there's no sun that's over Alvarado Gardens that's reflecting off of the same living room window where it is at 9 o'clock in the morning, where it's not coincidental regarding what I'm looking at on my phone at the second I look at it, and the demons who are engaged in 24-hour surveillance with the demon-possessed who are all going to federal prison, all of them. What the state does, the people of the state do. Okay, and this is, again, where 2500 and 2900 airports, the terminals 2 and 4, there is no reconciling what is clear targeting. Southwest Airlines, Delta Airlines, American Airlines, United Airlines, Frontier Airlines, Spirit Airlines. You already know the gang stalkers who use their commercial vehicles are also using their commercial planes. FedEx, Amazon Prime, they're engaged in group gang stalking using commercial planes, and they're doing so in the specific environment where you're looking at light just manifesting in the shade everywhere. This is the environment inside of Tracy's apartment. Engineer light for purposes of gang stalking, which is demonic activity, and the demon-possessed provide evidence against each other. That's the state providing evidence against the people of the state, and the people of the state providing evidence against the state, as they are together one entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And it is the removal of the corrupt demons who are sitting in office. It is the prosecution of those corrupt leaders, and is also the prosecution of the people of the state, the entity that's in the shoes of the state, maintaining criminal surveillance and tactics of psychological torture. While you have engineer light that's appearing, all right, out of nowhere. That's speaking to the light that's over here in the grass, okay, pointing out while they are flying over in helicopters and in airplanes, monitoring. And that's because I'm looking at video evidence that I'm going to publish on YouTube right now. Prosecution of AVANATH Capital Management, who is a documented gang stalker by virtue of this which is happening on their property and through their employees and through their residents. They are criminally profiting off of what is state surveillance, which is the objective of to engage in malicious murder and kidnapping. AVANATH is being simultaneously exposed and documented. AVANATH is also a gang stalker in Orange County. Orange County is fully engaged in the state surveillance. They're already on the record. There's no sun that's going to be over the Costa Mesa Police Department during the 12 p.m. hour, daylight savings time or not, while it's sitting idle, as you see, from 9 a.m. until after, 2, going on 3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock on the dot, where the entity is capturing this specific environment. This is not shared with the Costa Mesa Police Department at all. This is, again, AVANATH Capital Management is already surrounded by evidence. I'm at one of their real properties. They have more than one. Woodside Senior Apartments is not the only crime scene where criminal surveillance is underway. They will not be participating in federal housing programs anymore. Neither will the defendants, who are all going to be prosecuted. This entire venue is going to be displaced, but this is just because I'm here. Understand the entire city is being prosecuted. The entity flies over by helicopter with a criminal intent to engage in psychological torture, threatening, harassment, intimidation of the entity that is indeed engaged in monitoring with the people of the state. They do so as a matter of a pattern, while they are indeed engaged in federal stalking under Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. And they do so while you see the impossible light, the specific environment where a fake sun and engineer light is present. That's exactly what I'm capturing inside of the apartment, which is what I document while they maintain the the environment inside of this apartment through amplified audible noise. When you're looking at, this is my shadow appearing on the blinds over here. This is speaking to engineer light, not sunlight, where surveillance is underway. Sex offenders that are being paid to engage in terrorism through the airport, sex offenders that are being paid to maintain terrorism through the police department. It's the same through the fire department, through the hospitals, the demons that drive ambulances. This is a citywide effort, and they're still gang stalking on Vine Avenue, driving an engineer light, monitoring. Okay, the entity isn't doing so on an ongoing basis, and this is again the elderly who are all going to be prosecuted. The impunity that you see exhibited through gang stalking through the neighborhood, walking in the engineer light, that's a sex offender that knows what's going on with my genitalia, and he's monitoring. And they do so with impunity, just like you see the police flying over in helicopter, threatening an ordinary target individual absent any evidence and no one to report it to, while they are seeking to murder. Understand, this is what Tracy Banks is acting in conformity to, while lying in courts with this same entity, while engaging in what is profiting off of the ultimate demise, which is not going to be accomplished. They're all going to be prosecuted and uprooted from the position that they hold. Okay, this is the entity, though, however, that is seeking to profit off of the demise, the murder and kidnapping, while they are gang stalking you. This is how that system works. Okay, you're looking at elements: fake sun, stalking by planes, terminal 2, terminal 4 is no position where you're hovering over the complex, and also that's not going to be amplified inside the apartment like I document on an ongoing basis. Pulling up in the environment, you see him doing the same thing under the fake sun at 9 o'clock in the morning. He's gang stalking still, and that's why he's going to federal prison. It is currently 3:03 p.m. That's the overweight Latino male. You've seen him gang stalking with the Ontario police, and that's what he's doing right now. He's doing it right now. The Ontario police are monitoring. Units 33 through 64 are all going to federal prison. They're going to an asylum 55, and so is Tracy Banks. And all of these demons that can't pay their rent, they're engaged in state surveillance, they're all going to be displaced, and then none of them will be, for their criminal records, will be qualified to receive low-income housing, where state surveillance is underway amongst those that are receiving a means of welfare. These are demons who are pacing an engineer light. This is P.O.C. under a fake sun. This is the demon possessed receiving low-income housing benefits. This is P.O.C. See the video evidence published to the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also published on the P.O.C. website. The website address is thisisthepoc.wordpress.com in order to see all of the evidence captured that is shared on the Google Drive, which is public information that you can access on an ongoing real-time basis. I am consistently publishing all the evidence that as I remain subject to this pattern of conduct on a 24-hour basis. I am always uploading the evidence to the Google Drive, and as I do that, the defendant, the state of California, is engaged in ongoing criminal obstruction and psychological torture with the intent to obstruct justice while they are still acting in furtherance of a criminal conspiracy to maliciously murder and kidnap. While they are already reported to the feds are in real-time engagement awareness and are in the process of executing things such as raids and arrests, etc. The state of California is still engaged in that. And this is revealing what is mental illness. Okay, the demon possessed are not only engaged in high crimes, organized crimes such as murdering and kidnapping people as an entity, which the city of Ontario is an example regarding what the entire state practices. This is revealing the mental illness that is concealed, that the demon possessed, Satan himself, who is a spirit who uses people, does not want that to be known and recognized, okay? Does not want you to become familiar with specifically. But this is exposing the mental illness that is hidden amongst government actors, amongst law enforcement departments, amongst a population, and you are intentionally conditioned with regard to your understanding of so-called mental health. And it's also not a coincidence that you are being conditioned, by the way, and I'm keeping my opinion out of that, because you are being conditioned, because I see it as well, trying to encourage everyone to go talk to therapists, trying to condition, influence. Everyone needs to go get help with their quote unquote mental health. Everyone needs to go sit with psychiatrists. Everyone needs to go get diagnosed. And that is not the truth. That's a lie out of hell. But what you are witnessing, you're talking about what is an ongoing, and it's intentional, and it is spiritual. It's spiritually rooted. The spirit of deceit, making it more and more common, and something that is so blurred, something that is so deceitful, something that is so mixed in with regard to your inability to understand and recognize what is actual mental illness issues. And it is exhibited through the pattern of conduct, through the behavior of the demon possessed, who are acting, revealing their mental illness while they are on video camera, engaging in criminal activity that the federal government knows exactly what's going on when you're flying over the fake sun, over the strip of property, over the targeted individual who has a body of evidence of you doing the exact same thing. And that's not just the Ontario police who are going to be disbanded. That is the state of California that engaged in psychological torture and gang stalking in concert with the people of the state, with the intent, and it is also an abysmal failure. While they gang stalk in helicopter, they provide corroborating evidence against the people of the state. Even though I am prosecuting them, I don't need any help from the state to prosecute the people. It's already complete. The state provides additional evidence against itself while they, moments later, while I'm on my phone preparing to publish the evidence, the entity flies over in helicopter, engaging in what is the highest threat, while gang stalking police officers who are literally the ones who intend to murder you in some way, while they want to make it appear as though it's an execution of their job, while you are violating some law, while you are threatening them or some other third party, for example. Or they are also the demons who will arrive on the scene after the people of the state have maliciously murdered you in one way or another, under all circumstances. They engaged in the the provision of corroborating evidence while they're gang stalking under the fake sun in the engineered light. When you see concentrated engineered light moving across the wall while you open the front door, that's not sunlight that's coming horizontally through a peephole. Those are demons that are stalking in helicopter who exhibit mental illness. That's mental illness, ladies and gentlemen. Do not be deceived while Satan wants to make you think that there is something wrong with your mindset. Now, I'm talking to those who know Christ. I'm talking to those who may be subject to psychological torture that is causing you to question your mind state. The demon-possessed are indeed mentally ill. In the ways in which it is defined, it is that which is supposed to mix itself in with those who suffer no mental illness issues whatsoever. That's exactly what Satan wants to do. He wants to poison your mind, and he also wants to consume your body. That's what this demon possession is. That's what this is about. They're engaged in criminal conduct. They are under the control in real time of Satan himself. And it is manifesting in their nefarious, in their criminal, in their sexually perverted, highly demented conduct. And they are so mentally ill, they continuously engage in that which is to their own demise while they are obsessively focused on me. You're not sacrificing me. You have sacrificed everything. Okay? This is occurring in that specific environment. And that's what you are listening to on the podcast. And when you go to the podcast, the website, this is the P.O.C.wordpress.com, the website. You go to the Google Drive. And if you go to the YouTube channel where I'm publishing the video evidence, and this is where the demon possessed are exhibiting their mental illness while they are very much fearful. They're witnessing the power of God, who was very much alive, seated on the throne, aware of everything that they planned from the beginning, and is executing justice. And he is shining a light on everything that Satan is doing and everyone whom he does it through. And they are showing their obsession. The real-time public safety concern is that Satan himself, who is a spirit, do not be ignorant. And this, yes, is also addressing the federal government because it's affecting your job. It is affecting your ability to have probable cause and investigate. And it is important. By the way, in case you don't know Christ, you do need to know him. But it's also with regards, it's literally relevant to your job, practically, as the way that you execute what you do. Knowing what the root cause is and how it is affecting what's going on around everyone and in the environment. It does apply to you. You cannot disregard the spiritual realm. You cannot disregard the reality of Christ. He is relevant in every area of life. That's what this is speaking to. And they are so obsessed in trying to, and they will never accomplish the murder and kidnapping. And they are still engaging in the criminal endeavor to do so while the federal government is watching them gang stalk me. You're watching them walk by on the sidewalk. Their shadows are moving across inside of this living room. They're still gang stalking while I capture this podcast at 4:11 p.m. You're listening to my voice. The demon at 55 who's going to a mental asylum. It's pacing around and it's amplified. Psychological torture, in other words, is underway. While that same police department who flew over my head on video is still engaging in criminal surveillance. It's directly pointing to the government while the people of the state practice this criminal system with the entity's purpose to murder someone. This is how they are removing human beings from existence It is public corruption. It is a public safety concern, and they do so with real-time knowledge. All of the demons are monitoring while they are pacing around on the sidewalk, while they're pacing around on Vine Avenue and on G Street. They're gang stalking with the property AVANATH, capital management, with the property, all 144 units, they're all being prosecuted. None of these low-income housing recipients who can't pay their rent, but they're engaged in domestic terrorism. They pace around and they amplify activity. They stalk in helicopters and in planes with impunity. They will be dealt with accordingly. That federal prosecution, they're all going to federal prison. Okay, 4:13 p.m., the entity still engaging in what is gang stalking, pacing around. That's AVANATH Capital Management, whose pockets shall be thoroughly drained. Damages that are designed to devastate that corrupt company, that gang stalking company. That's monitoring my genitalia. That's what a company, AVANATH Capital Management, is engaged in, with impunity, with the government, with the population, and with knowledge. AVANATH Capital Management is a third party. They know every time that I mention their corrupt company name. And they are being documented as acting with impunity, and it's relevant to the damages that they will compensate me for. They're going to compensate me for the harms I continuously suffer while the state is pacing around in engineered light, engaging in psychological torture. A company is being documented engaging in wartime tactics against an American citizen, and doing so with impunity, meaning they are seeking to maliciously murder and kidnap me with outright disregard for the consequences for it, or the damages are going to note that. It's noting the fact that you don't care. Because that's exactly what all these defendants at Woodside Senior Apartments, who are the people of the state, exhibit. 4:13 p.m. pacing on the sidewalk, showing an appetite to psychologically harm the federal prosecutor. These are fools. These are baboons. And it's the police department, it's the mayor, Paul Leon, the demon-possessed city council member, Alan D. Wapner, the demons that are flying commercial planes, every gang-stalking airline. This is a comprehensive prosecution. So see, the video evidence is published to the YouTube channel, the P.O.C. and the website. This is the POC.wordpress.com, where all of the evidence, the entirety of the evidence presented against the defendant, the state of California, is published on an ongoing basis. You can go to the website at 2 o'clock in the morning, because I am always publishing evidence as I remain subject to the P.O.C. This is P.O.C. It's currently 4:14 p.m.